Welcome back to Approved AF, the mortgage licensing podcast. Today's guest brings Ironman grit straight into mortgage leadership. I'm talking with John Wright, partner at Advisors Capital, a 28-year industry veteran who has scaled teams, survived market cycles, and built a business rooted in relationships. If you're launching, leveling up, or needing a push to keep going, this conversation will land exactly where you need it. So let's jump into it. Hi, John. Welcome to Approved AF. How are you today?
Doing great, Catalina. How are you doing?
I'm great. So for people that are just joining us who may not be familiar with who you are or Advisors Capital, can you give us a little bit of a rundown about what that whole company, what your company is all about?
Sure. Yeah, my name's John Wright, and I've been in the local Michigan mortgage market since June of 97. This is my 28th or 29th year. And our company, Advisors Capital, is a mortgage broker who also offers insurance products, home, auto, life, umbrella. So we launched a few years back, and our purpose was to continue offering mortgage products to our past clients, but also to expand those relationships into insurance.
I love that.
Yeah.
Very relationally based.
Absolutely.
So you actually have a very unique combo that, I see people who have started mortgage companies and come from all walks of life, but this is a very unique. I don't think I've ever seen anybody come across my desk that has quite the resume that you do. You are a business owner and partner at Advisors Capital, but you're also an Ironman athlete. How did that passion for endurance shape your mindset as this business owner?
Yeah, it's interesting. So I got into running and racing probably 25 years ago. Did my first triathlon. I've done probably 30 or 40 races through the years. Back in 2019, decided to step up to the full distance of Ironman racing, which is a 2.4-mile swim, 112-mile bike, and a full marathon, just as a way to stay in shape, set goals, and accomplish something that before I'd ever done, it sounded like it was almost impossible to do. And it kind of goes hand in hand with being in sales, running a business, setting goals, and just enjoying the process of trading and working and, being the best, I guess.
Being the best, to say the least. I mean, like literally less than 1% of the population of the world has ever even done a marathon, let alone an Ironman. I mean, and you make it just sound so nonchalant. Like, yeah, it's what I do now. But before we jump too far down that rabbit hole, let's back up a little bit and walk me through what inspired you to decide to start a mortgage company.
Yeah, so like I said before, when I got in the business in 97, I was about the 30 or 35th employee of a small lender here in Novi. We grew that quickly into being the second largest private mortgage lender in the state of Michigan back in 2003. It was sold our small private company to a larger company. I expanded and grew that to 42 states and about 400 employees up until the point that the financial crisis happened. And that was a great learning tool for me in starting from a small company and seeing it expand and grow quickly, just based on having great people in great positions for the customer focus first, taking good care of our employees and coworkers. And so then it was a natural progression when the time came to launch Advisors Capital with some of the very same people that I admired and are some of the best people in the industry to work with. So kind of a logical progression, and it's been a great fit.
That's amazing. When you started Advisors Capital, I mean, again, you've had definitely the work experience and all of that underneath your belt and things that you could kind of fall back on to say, this is what we should do and what we shouldn't do. But what were some of the biggest challenges that you faced that maybe you weren't quite anticipating?
I'd say any small business owner has to be ready to really work a lot. There's a lot of time spent in the beginning where you are wearing all the hats. and it's a lot of time invested, late hours, working weekends, and kind of having an all hands on deck mentality where there's no job that's too big, no job too small, but you're always having patience on the fact that it's going to pay off in the long run, and staying focused on the goal, which is to get up and running, become profitable, expand, and deliver the product and service to your clients that your mission statement's based on.
Excellent. What were some of the first steps that made the biggest impact early on, like the foundational things that let you guys build that momentum?
Yeah, so I'd say, there are a lot of things to consider. And if you have a sales background, operations, say you run organizations or sales groups or companies, you have a good mix of experience in just about everything. Licensing was something that was intimidating to me. It could have been very overwhelming and time consuming. That's something that we decided to outsource to you. You guys are instrumental in getting us up and running, not only in Michigan, but also in different states, which is something we look to expand more in the future. We'll probably talk about that in a few minutes. But that was instrumental in getting you guys helping with that standpoint. So we had to focus more on what it was that we do of marketing, selling, retaining clients, and developing products and programs for the market.
And that is definitely one of the benefits to once you kind of get the ability to outsource certain things is it allows you to focus back on the things that you enjoy and that you're good at, and that's working with the clients and not that mundane stuff that just needs to happen, but in the background.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'll say that's something anybody who's launched a small business knows. Like I said, the beginning, one of the challenges is that you have to do everything. We just got to wear a lot of hats. But there does become a time when you're up and running and it's time to sell and deliver your product and expand. You've got to be able to delegate, let go of some of those things so you don't get stuck in that, and you can focus on higher level things and you can grow and you expand the company.
Excellent. Yeah. One of the things that you and I had talked about when you were first getting up and going was that you were actually able to process your own loans. And I thought that was very interesting because we don't get a lot of people in that are able to have the capabilities and abilities to wear those multiple hats. So what did that teach you about like the business aspect and about team? And again, I think you even said it, no job is too small or something that you can't do.
Yeah. So going back to when I started in business in 97, I had a chance to jump in the business full time as a 100% commission loan officer, or to be a loan officer assistant and a loan processor for the first year. So I made a decision to start slowly, be a processor, be an assistant to a high producing loan officer, and that gave me a chance to have exposure and experience with a lot more files I would have had to sell on my own. And so learning how to put a file together, how to submit loans, seeing what got approved in underwriting, what didn't get approved in underwriting, helped me build a basis that I could then take that knowledge and experience and become a loan officer full time. So I did that for the last 28 years of my career. And then when it came time to launch Advisors Capital as a broker, I was entering the broker world, which I had done before. And I wanted to know how to do everything in the company from the ground up to the time the loan was originated until it got closed, so that when we expanded and hired people and offloaded some of those details and duties, I could be able to step in, train, help, and assist when needed. So just, I think doing that and having a background in all the different functions of how the company runs can help you become a more effective leader.
And what kind of leader would you say that you are based off of those experiences that you can bring to the table? Is it more of like a coaching mindset, or how do you view your leadership style?
That's funny. It's interesting you say that because in addition to, being in the mortgage business for a long time, I've been coaching for about 16 years now. I coach youth athletics from baseball to volleyball, soccer, cross country, track and field. I coach high school cross country and track and field now. And I do look at myself more as a coach than a manager, because I think that people, want to be encouraged, they want to be inspired, and they want to see people with experience who've done what they've done, what they're doing, attempt to lead them in an honest and ethical way. So that's the way I try to approach what I'm doing, is more from the standpoint of being a coach than being a manager or a boss or something like that. And I think that translates nicely so people feel like they're a member of the team and they're not an employee of the company.
Absolutely. It's more of a that team feel, kind of like a sports team, but in the business world.
Yeah.
Uh, for new mortgage brokers that are getting out there who are thinking about launching their own company, who aren't even sure that that's really the route that they want to go. Maybe they're a little hesitant on doing that. What is one piece of advice that you would give to them?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I would say that it's not for everyone, but it is something that anyone can accomplish. So, back to the analogy with Ironman. Ironman has a slogan, which is anything is possible. And I think that's true with, people who decide to do endurance sports or people who decide to launch their own business, whether it's a mortgage business or something else. It is possible for anyone to do if they've got the right people around them, right work ethic, the experience, and the willing to commit to the time and effort it takes to grow slowly and properly. It is something that everyone can do. So I would just know the numbers, have a goal, have a vision of 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, a year on a 5-year plan. So you have benchmarks to check off along the way to keep yourself on track, because depending on how large or how small you start, you're smart. If you're starting with just, let's say a handful of people, less than 6, you can easily get distracted and off focus if you don't have someone holding you accountable to the goals and benchmarks you set.
So, do you feel like it is more about time management or about discipline in how I mean, again, you're not just doing training. You're not just performing as an athlete. You're not just one thing. You're also a business owner and managing multiple facets of your life. So how do you, do it all?
Yeah, so that's funny. You mentioned the two probably most important words, and that would be discipline and time management. So, this past fall was basically coaching a high school cross country team 6 days a week, training for Ironman California, which is happening in October 19th, and selling loans and running a company. It's just a matter of being very disciplined with the time you spend, not wasting time, time blocking, and having goals and having people who can help step in and do things when you're not able to yourself. So delegating obviously is a very important role.
And having a team that is trustworthy, that you feel confident to delegate those tasks to.
Yeah, exactly. There's nothing more important than the people around you that are you're supporting or helping support you.
Absolutely. The company you keep and the team that you surround yourself with really do impact you. Even within your own family group, how you guys motivate and encourage each other will determine how successful you are or not.
Yeah, exactly. I agree.
So training for an Ironman obviously takes a lot of discipline and planning and grit. And I want to know what parallels you see between the two of being a Ironman athlete and a business owner. And those are Ironmans, like plural. You've done it multiple times. This is not a one and done situation for you.
Yeah, it's funny because I thought it might be back in 2019 when I did the first one, but I enjoyed the process. And then possibly what happened for me, Ironman came around at a great time of life because it was just before the pandemic. And so in 2020, we all know the world shut down. Couldn't go to work, couldn't go to church, couldn't go out to the restaurant. You basically had no control over anything. Your kids were home from school. And I looked at that and I thought, I did the race in 2019 and I need something that I can control. So I can control swimming, biking, or running every day. I could control the schedule. And if I could just accomplish a 1-hour workout, it gave me encouragement, kept me going, and it was something I could actually control. So that was a great time for me to begin Ironman racing. Now that's translated into the mortgage business from the standpoint of remaining focused and, like I said earlier, managing time, having goals, and setting proper expectations to follow through on.
Yeah, absolutely. When you don't feel motivated, because a lot of us will start off very strong. We've got those goals. We're very goal oriented. We're time blocking. We're doing all the right things. And then that motivation starts to dwindle, for us. How do you get through that and stay strong through those, lack of motivation in whether it's, training or in business, or maybe it's different for each round?
That's a great question. There's a saying I learned, probably 5, 10 years ago. And the saying is that if your why is strong enough, you'll figure out the how. And so, for example, part of the reason I do Ironman races is I raise money for a group called Penrithton Center for Blind Children in Taylor, Michigan. They house about 20 legally blind children Monday through Friday, 24/7. And we raise money through racing for them. So on the days I don't want to race or train, the days I want to sleep in, but I don't feel like doing something, I think about the kids and I think about why I'm doing what I'm doing. And it always makes me able to get up and do the things I didn't want to maybe do. Same with business. You think about why it is you're starting a company, why you're starting clients, why did you choose this as a career? And on the days you don't want to do, you don't want to return the phone calls or do the mailing marketers or send emails or attend a closing or whatever it might be that you don't want to do, you think about what it is and why you're doing it. And that will help me to get through the days I don't want to do my job or I don't want to, to do the small things. It's all part of the process and accomplish your much higher level goal.
What is a routine non-negotiable for you?
Time blocking is very important, but I would say the things, I'm a person of faith, and the priority of my life is God, family, work and friends, and everything else. And so keeping myself and my priorities straight and in line helps me think long-term from a higher level perspective to get me through tough days and tough times at work or home or family. And so keep my priorities straight would be number one. And that's probably where I'd start with that.
I love that. Yeah, it is about finding what your core values are and do your goals align with who you want to be.
Yeah. And on days where things aren't going well at a lower level, stay focused. And so it's a non-negotiable. It's trying to stay grounded in my faith, but also exercise too, because for me, exercise is an outlet. It's a way to relieve stress. It's a way to stay physically fit. And again, it's one of those goals where even if work isn't going the way I want to go or want to go, I can still accomplish goals through my training. So keeping faith, number one, continuing to exercise, but also always just make sure my wife knows that she's number one. The kids are more important than work, and trying to stay properly balanced to wear multiple hats, but never losing focus with who and what is most important, and making sure they know it too. So if you're watching this and you're in sales or you're leading a team, you're considering launching a company, just make sure that the people in your life who you need support from know that they are the priority and not the business or the work. That's just a part of what you do, but it's not who you are.
When Ryan first asked me to join Licensing Store, we were all working remote and everything. And at one point we're doing a very late phone call between me and him. And his wife walks in and he goes, "Oh, hang on, Catalina. I'm sorry. I got to talk to her." And I told him right then and there, I said, "Don't ever apologize to me again for having a conversation with your wife. We're teammates, me and you, but that is your ultimate teammate right there."
Yeah.
And so I always thank her for I'm like, thank you so much for being so supportive of this, because again, it really does make a difference. And likewise, I have to always just, thank the family for all of their support every day. Cause it does take a lot of hours to get things up and running. So the mortgage industry can be super intense. Do you stay fulfilled while running a company and serving clients? And when it starts to feel empty in doing those things, how do you fill up your self-worth?
Yeah, I guess I just try to stay as focused as I can on the big picture, on the long-term goal of building a company for our employees, for our clients, our referral partners, our builders, our realtors, other people that we have professional relationships with. Knowing that we're part of the bigger team than just transactions. We're very relationship based, and those relationships and those friendships that people have had for a long time keep me going, keep me inspired, and are a lot of the driving force behind what I do.
And what would you say like the culture of Advisors Capital is currently, and how do you plan to develop it to balance that work-life aspect?
Yeah, no, our goal at work for culture is what it's always been from the time we got in the business in 97 to the different companies we've had and the different people we've worked with. I've always been very fortunate and blessed. I feel like I've worked for the smartest guys in the industry and girls. I feel like we've always had teams that we built based on the fact that we all felt like family. We felt like friends. We knew each other very well, knew each other's spouses, each other's kids, and we always kept family above work. So when people had things to do, we would respect it, like you talked about your boss Ryan. That culture of family first is where I think every company should begin, and where every company that's going to be successful will ultimately remain on that path. So the employees know they're not just a number. They're not just there to complete the task so the company can make more money. They're there to grow the goals of the company to be a part of the success.
Yes, yes, yes. Love that. What role do you find that purpose plays in how you lead your team? And how do you keep purpose front and center? So like the company goals front and center, even as the markets have shifted.
Yeah, I mean, everyone in our company has experience. They've been around the block. I think having the experience that we have and being at the stage of our life means that we've seen ups and downs in the mortgage business. We've made it through 2001, we made it through 2008, we made it through COVID. And so the fact that we know long term, if you're strong with good people and if you have a good plan, you can make it through. That's been key to our growth and just being able to sustain ourselves in the business as long as we have.
Absolutely. And what is something that you wish you knew, or you could tell your younger self, or you could tell somebody that's like really green in the industry?
Yeah, if it's about, launching a company, it's maybe what I talked about earlier, which is the time commitment's going to take early mornings, late nights, working weekends, having goals, setting goals, and holding yourself accountable to them, being surrounded by good people, not always just driven by the bottom line, but being driven by having the right people a part of your team to grow it properly. So dedicating yourself to the time, surrounding yourself with great people, and stay focused on your vision is what I would recommend anybody would know from day number one, because those are easy mistakes that everyone can make and we've all made. If you can avoid the wrong people, if you can avoid having wrong expectations, especially like you mentioned before, with your support group, with your spouse, your significant other, your kids, whoever your family situation might be, making sure they understand what the commitment is and that they're on board during that first 6 months or year where it may require a lot more time working than they may be used to.
And then when you do start to scale and you start to develop the business, what is something that you're trying to find the balance of not just making clients a number and a turn and burn situation, but giving them the attention and still maintaining the level of quality in that, but growing the balance sheet?
Yeah, it's basic stuff to me. Regardless of how small or large you are, it's always doing the small things. It's taking care of people, recognizing that you may have 100 calls, or you may have 10 or 20 or 30 closings in a month, or whatever your appointment book looks like. The person you're speaking with is only getting one mortgage. They're only buying one house. It's something you're going to do every 5 or 6 years. So putting myself in their shoes and trying to think about the experience from their perspective helps me stay grounded, focused on delivering what I wanted to deliver back when we decided to get in business and open the business. So stay focused on the client, not the relationship is key.
That's a really good mindset shift of taking it down to, this is a one transaction in 5 years that this person will have. What experience will they be getting from me on it? I like that. In the next couple of years, where do you guys want to focus your attention and grow Advisors Capital?
Yeah, so we relaunched from just being a mortgage company to offering insurance. That's where we see our growth going forward. We always want to serve our core clients and our partners through the mortgage channel. We're going to take those thousands of clients we have and expand more products and services to them through insurance, as well as on the mortgage side, expanding to other states. So right now we offer mortgages in 2 states. We offer insurance in about 6 states. So in the next 2 years, I'd like to see us join, or I should say expand into 1 or 2 more states on the mortgage end, and probably hire 1 to 2 loan officers this year, 1 to 2 insurance agents this year, and just try to continue to grow slowly, keeping the process simple, staying focused on what we do best. And, we can, if you have a good foundation built, and if you have a good core of people around you, you can always add people and scale the process. So we have the foundation built, just a matter of adding a few states, adding more insurance carriers, and adding the right people when the time is right.
Excellent. Very strategic with your growth.
Yeah. And
not overwhelming.
Yeah. We've all heard of people in large companies who just hire tons and tons and tons of people every 30 days, every 60 days. And that's a business model that works for them. But we've always approached it from the standpoint of looking at it as a long-term relationship with a client and a long-term relationship with employees and coworkers and teammates, so that we get the right people on board, and we keep things simple and keep the company small enough to stay focused on what's most important to us.
What motivation or encouragement would you give to somebody who is afraid to actually take risk? I'm a natural risk adverse person. First one to say, my first answer is always no. So what would you tell me if I'm sitting on the fence to just take that leap?
Yeah, so somebody tell the kids I coach, whether it's track and field or cross country, I always tell kids, you're faster than you think you are. Trust the process, trust your training, have a plan, and stick to that plan during your race. Same thing in business. People are more capable than they think they are. Fear is something that can be paralyzing and cause people to not make decisions they should have made. But going into something eyes wide open, knowing the facts, talking to other people who have done what you want to do is key, to have as much information as you can up front. And then when it comes to an important decision, I always tell people this, whether it's getting married, buying a house, buying a car, having kids, ask yourself 2 things. What's the worst could happen if I do this? And what's the worst could happen if I don't do this? So if you're thinking about launching a business, what's the worst could happen if you do it? Maybe the company fails, you lose some money, maybe a step back a year in your career that you could have grown and stayed where you were. But you could probably always go back to that former life of being an employee or being a team member somewhere else. On the other hand, what's worse to happen if you don't try it? Well, if you're a person who's not satisfied in what you're doing and feels like you want to serve a bigger purpose, to be a part of something bigger and growing something, then you may miss the opportunity to ever do that. And so if you look back 2 years, 10 years from now, what we regret more? Maybe having started something that didn't work out and you went back what you're doing before, but at least you try, or never taking the shot, never trying. And you just have to ask yourself, what's the worst going to happen? And make that decision. But it isn't for everyone, but I think for anyone who feels a calling to do it, gather information, get as much facts as you can, have a plan, have a mentor, have someone who's done it before, whether they're a part of your company or not, but someone you can meet with monthly or quarterly, just to check in, to give you encouragement and help answer questions you have along the way. Because there'll be a lot of questions that come up. But I think that most runners are faster than they think they are. Most business people are more capable than they think they are too.
That's actually really, really good. And I'll have to remember that too. I'm going to actually translate that and give that to my kids as well. So where can people connect with you to learn more about Advisors Capital and actually more about your fundraising and your things that you're doing?
Yeah, thanks. So our website is advisorscapital.us, and people can find me online there. We have always done business, I guess, the old-fashioned way where buy leads. We always get business through traditional channels, friends, family, past clients, realtors, builders, things like that. So we are a relationship-based company, always looking to build new relationships, whether that be with referral partners or clients and customers. So check us out online, call me, email me, text me anytime. I'd love to answer questions you have, whether you're a client, you're a realtor, you're somebody watching this who's thinking about the possibility of starting a business. Reach out to me. I'd be happy to be as transparent and answer any questions I could.
Thank you so much for talking with me today. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, my pleasure. It's been a blast, and thanks for the invitation.
All right. Talk to you soon.
All right, we'll see you.
Bye. All right, guys, that wraps up today's episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. If this episode encouraged you to think differently about discipline, leadership, or building a mortgage company that you love, make sure that you like, subscribe, and then share this episode with someone who needs it. Follow along with us on Instagram at approvedaf_licensing for more stories, strategies, and behind-the-scenes insights. So until next time, stay licensed, stay compliant, and stay approved AF.